Tired of feeling like you're spinning all the plates in your design business and at any moment they could all come crashing down? Are you feeling like you're so close to breaking through to the next level, but those consistent projects still aren't flowing your way? Are you ready to finally take your business from a hobby to 100K and beyond? Then welcome to the SixFigure Designer Podcast. I'm talking all the techniques you need in your design business to start paying yourself, get great clients, and finally break through that 5-figure ceiling. So in today's episode, we're going to talk a little bit about some people that have gone through my program and how they came to me and then what happened when they started working with me. So the first person that we're going to talk about is actually Tina. And Tina had been a designer for quite a while. She had been a designer for over 15 years and had always worked for other people. But she finally decided to go on her own, which was great because she had all the skills and she had all the knowledge about what it was like to be a designer, but she was a little wary in terms of what it was to run a business, to have to cultivate relationships, and how to get clients to come her way. So she was relatively new in her own business, and we have known each other for several years. And she started following me and getting some of the quick tips that she could, implement in her business. But what she decided to do was do my mini course. And what that did is took her through the process of how to work or refine the ideas of what she already was working on in her business. So she was refining her ideal client. She was refining how to find them. She was refining the idea of where do I go to start increasing these referral sources and how to have the messaging that I want so that I start attracting the types of clients and the projects that I want. So she realized that she had a lot of the good bones in place, and many of you probably already do. Like you've been running a business for a while, or maybe you've worked for someone and then now you've decided to go on your own. So you have the bones there, right? You just need to refine that so that it starts to hum along, like it starts to become a well-oiled machine. So she started fine-tuning these ideas and she started to learn what was important to her and her business. I'm a big fan of, you and your business are, intertwined. So you have to take care of your business, but you also have to take care of yourself. So we started working on, once she went through that course, she actually graduated to my mastermind. And we started talking about how can you, meet milestones in your business, but then also reward yourself in your own life. Like, what are we going to do here to kind of keep the fires burning, right? Because the motivation when you're running your own business it's a lot, right? It's just a constant, we've talked about feeding the beast. You're constantly feeding the beast, right? Like you're always thinking about business. You're always figuring out what you're working on, what's coming, what you need to do to get more projects. Like it's just a constant cycle. So we have to take really good care of ourselves. So we started talking about what's important in your business and then what's also important in your personal life. And so we started diving into that. And so when she graduated from the 6-week course into the mastermind, that's when we were able to really dive into what she wanted to accomplish in her business and put some numbers to that and what she wanted to do as a result of that in her own personal life. Actually, she had a goal. Last year we worked together and she met her financial goal halfway through the year, which was amazing. And then we started resetting goals to continue on for the remainder of the year. And then she also had a goal of she was working from her home office and she wanted to hire somebody and also get an outside office. And she was able to meet both those goals before the end of the year. So within a year, she exceeded her financial goal and then also a personal goal of getting help and getting an office. She was able to do all of that in 1 year as opposed to maybe a couple years thinking it through. And we talked about the planning of that and how she would work towards getting outside help. So it's really rewarding to see Tina apply the information and then also take it to the next level. She's an ideal student. She's always doing her work, and she takes the time and realizes that taking that time to work on her business is super important. So, she's made that financial commitment and also that time commitment to take everything to the next step. The second person we're going to talk about is Heather. Heather came to me in a similar situation. She had worked for somebody for a very long period of time and now was looking to go on her own. She wanted to concentrate. She had come from a commercial background, so that was something that, something I could relate to because I had come from a commercial background as well. And she was going on her own, and she was trying to figure out what kind of projects she wanted to do, what kind of work she wanted to work on. And she really needed help with focus. She was kind of like all over the place. She was offering so many different things. And what was happening is when you do too many things, you're doing none of them well. And that was kind of what was happening. So when we sat down and got a chance to really dive in, I realized in her business, she was also doing, a portion of her business was doing pool selections. And we realized quickly that that could be an amazing subset of her business because she also wanted to hire some help and get an office outside of her home. And what we talked about is having her develop that pool business so that it could basically pay for the person that she wanted to hire, the design assistant that she wanted to hire. So what we did for the first thing that we did was dive into the procedures and what happened during that pool service and how could she start to tighten up that process, right? So she didn't have to be involved in that. And it could be almost like a well-oiled machine where she could hire somebody to help her in her office, but they could almost exclusively work on those pool selections as well with minimal involvement from her. But then also that subset would basically pay for her assistant's salary. So we worked on all the procedures. We worked on how she was going to start finding those contacts to be able to do more pools. And so we honed that system and we also raised her prices. It's hilarious because now she's also graduated to my mastermind. She has raised her prices 4 or 5 times in the last 12 months. And now she used to be tentative about what that price would be. But now she's saying, I'm raising my prices and they're just going to have to get over it. And so that's like a definite mind shift for her that she already knows that she was grossly undercharging. And that was something that, really was an opportunity for her to make basically kind of like residual income for her business. So we did talk about that. So I was able to help her with focus. We talked about her goals and what her clients were and how she wanted to do that. And then gave her the step-by-step instructions so that she could sustain day-to-day business so that she could not only focus on the day-to-day business, but then figure out what the next step is, right? How is she going to grow her business? How is she going to grow her services? So those are 2 examples of people that have worked in the programs that I offer. And again, Heather met her financial goals before the year was up last year. So that was super exciting. She was also able to hire an assistant and get an office all within 12 months. So that was huge growth for her and for Tina. And so it was so exciting to see and also just really rewarding from my end. So Tina and Heather, awesome job. And we will talk again soon. Thanks for listening to the SixFigure Designer Podcast. If you're ready to make 6 figures in your interior design business, then check out my Design Business Bootcamp. Our next session starts soon. So let's get you to 6 figures, stat.